And we're off and running. Good evening. I'm Doc, and there's Captain Kreepee, who is always ready with something to scare you with.
Indeed. Well, something to say. I don't know if it's, I just like talking. So,
Yes, you do. And you do a very fine job of it, too. We're going to talk about the Mothman tonight.
yes, indeed. A cryptid. We'll be talking about the infamous, the famous Mothman. And Colleen already says, I do not believe in Mothman. Bring it on. So, we're going to talk about it. I don't know if I do either. We'll see. We'll see.
They got a museum already, and they've got, the Mothman Museum there, and Mothman cookies and drinks and all kinds of stuff.
Ken, thank you so much for coming.
Hey,
thank you, Colleen. Thank you, Jen, for coming. Good evening. Good evening.
Jen, hello.
Kevin
Pitt. Seen you last
night.
The
Mothman has terrified for a year. Yep. And then Scott Nickerson. All right. The whole gang's here. Thank you for coming.
The whole gang is here, but it's not complete.
I'm hoping
missing
someone. Hornback. Someone invited tonight may come who knows a lot about Venezuelan cryptids. So that's going to be interesting, including one that is like the Mothman. So let's hope she shows up. But if not, I'll
speak of the devil.
Hello. Hornback. Good evening, Hornback. Thanks for coming so much. I have
beer and back roads.
Yes, indeed. Have the shrunken vampire head from Borneo. I'm drinking some red stuff in it tonight, and it's delicious.
Have an irony taste to it.
A little metallic, yeah.
Metallic,
thick,
rust.
Too,
rust. A little rusty irony flavor.
Yeah. Colleen says we'll talk about that too. That lots of money in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, is made off of the Mothman story. That's definitely something to consider. We'll talk about that. Yeah.
Well, Roswell, New Mexico. Falk, Arkansas. The Legend of Boggy Creek. When that remember when that movie came out back in the 70s? I think.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, and they had a Falk, Arkansas, was where Boggy Creek ran through. And they had the plaster cast of the Bigfoot and everything, and it was right by a Texarkana. You're probably familiar with that area a little bit up there.
I am.
And they had a big run of tourists coming in, to look for the Boggy Creek monster and all this kind of stuff. So the Mothman did good. What was the name of that point?
What the place the Mothman's? Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Yeah.
West Virginia.
Yeah.
And
then they got that. Do you have that picture of the bridge that collapsed?
Yes, I'll be showing that.
Okay, good. I ain't going to say no more. We'll save that.
Yeah. See, Hornback's eating his ladyfingers, his actual literal ladyfingers crawling around. If you're not aware, he has the palate of the Addams family. So he enjoys the ladyfingers, the black popcorn, the spiders, and everything like Renfield from Dracula.
Yeah.
The life is in the blood, right?
Yes. Dracula chocolate shake.
There we go. You sure? Is it kind of tinged red a little bit?
Yeah.
I thought about something today. You can kill a vampire with a wooden stake through the heart. You can also kill a non-vampire with a wooden stake through the heart, right?
Yes. Now you're taking the fun and mystique out of this.
Yeah, we better make sure it's a vampire. Is what I'm saying. Before you kill someone, right?
Yeah. But the werewolf you kill with the silver bullet, right?
Yeah, silver bullet or silver. Just silver.
Silver. Okay.
Iron tends to work on fairies. The true fairies of legend, the vicious kind of tricky little ones, right. And then. What else? What are some other things? Like salt keeps away evil things, supposedly. Fire kills all evil things, except, I suppose, demons, if they're from fire.
Yeah, they feed on fire.
A lot of people believe in salt. If you put a line of salt across your door, your threshold, it's supposed to keep out evil. Then down here in the South, in Louisiana, red chalk dust also can be placed to stop witches. And then there's something called gopher powder also. So there's a lot of legends about how to stop evil,
Yes.
I have above my front door a cross, not because I necessarily think it's going to do anything necessarily, maybe, but it was my mother's before she passed away, and she always had it above a door, so I kind of put it up there, and if it
Yeah.
stopped fire from entering too, all the better, you know.
I've got a little. I need to get it out and show you sometime. It's about an inch and a half high, and it's like I'm sure it's brass case, and you pull it open, and there is a little it's a Catholic the Sacred Heart of Jesus.
Right.
And my uncle carried that through the Korean War.
Really?
The war in Korea. And he was right in the middle of some really bad stuff. He actually won a Silver Star in Korea. And he carried it, and he gave it to my mom and told her, said, you need to hold this. Well, when my mom actually gave it to me before she passed away. And I still got it here. And I got a little box and stuff with mom and dad's stuff in it, and I still got that. And I don't know if it has any magical powers or not, but it's been around. Let's put it that way.
Traditional lore, iconography, religious iconography is supposed to at least repel things like vampires. Jen also mentions haint blue. Do you know what haint blue is, Doc?
No.
Haint blue. It's something, I don't know if it's just in New Orleans or in the South in general, but it's when you have a front porch, you paint the ceiling this kind of color blue. It's very much like sky blue. Haint is just a way of saying haunt. And supposedly it's supposed to keep ghosts out of your house because they think it's the sky or something, so they don't realize you're entering a house. Yeah. Haint blue. And then you paint the ceiling porch. And then there's another thing in New Orleans. We have these things called shotgun houses, where it's just one room wide and it's just long and narrow, right? Some of them are really cool, but traditionally you don't put the doors in the same place as a straight passage. You stagger the doors so that spirits can't enter. Confuses the spirits.
Yeah,
that's a real thing here in New Orleans.
Yeah. No atheists in foxholes. I see that.
And someone been hitting the eggnog already. That's a little early for that, but hey, I love eggnog. I'll take it. I will take it. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of come to people that in the time of battle, and all of a sudden you look, this could be it.
Yeah.
They make I know my uncle, they was raised Baptist. I don't know why. I know this. I'll get it sometime. I know this is a Catholic.
Yeah,
but
it is.
What's the difference? It's all in how you perceive things.
Yeah.
Perception.
Yeah. Is it like a heart with a sword pierced through it? Is that the?
I don't know. It's so small you can't hardly see. It's only
that's what it is. Yeah.
Not even an inch tall. I'm pretty sure. I just know. I remember. I said that's a Catholic.
Right.
It's from Catholic.
Yeah. It's the heart pierced through with sorrow for the sin of the world, I believe. Is
the sins of the world. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
As a good former Catholic boy.
Yeah. You went to Catholic school also, didn't you?
Pretty much all my life.
Yeah. I went 8 years.
Yeah.
A religion class every day.
Oh yeah.
And in the early years, now remember, I was probably about 10, 15 years before you. We used to go to church every morning before school.
Really? Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Every morning. And I was in probably 5th grade when they started what they called it 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. We had what they call massive choice.
Yeah.
And we could stay down in the classroom instead of going to mass and use it as study hall. And I tell you what, a lot of the kids started staying. Well, it was bad. You think about it. I was going to church 6 days a week.
Right, I know. Man.
I was going, and then having a religion class. Some of it stuck. But like I said, when I started getting in after 6th grade, 7th grade, I wasn't a good student because my mind started working, and I had lots of questions, and I didn't get the answers I was looking for.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Kevin. Well, likewise, Kevin, and that's one of the reasons I enjoy doing this, and why I plan to continue doing it on my my channel, once we switch it over, Fangs and Folklore, once Doc kind of slows down a little bit so that he can spend a little more time with his family.
Yep.
Yeah, Mothman. Yeah, Mothman. I think that's that's me when I have to clean the house. Mothman.
But you both
best
have
penmanship.
the best.
I have the worst penmanship in the world. Like you should see my college notes. Literally illegible except to me. Yeah, it.
Mine's like that too. I was talking to a guy today, talking about how, like today in school they don't really teach cursive like they did. Right. And I said, if I probably sat down with a piece of control paper, I could probably still write cursive the way I was taught in second grade when they started it, something like that. I don't remember. That's been a long time ago. Remember, I started first grade in 1964. I think.
Before the film Night of the Living Dead was made, which is a perfect segue into the movie I want to talk about tonight. If you don't mind me taking over for a minute, just because.
No, go for it, man. You know that.
I saw a horror film last night. Now, I love horror, but I also love horror comedy. Something about horror and comedy go together. You'd never think it's the case, but like both of them kind of have exaggerated emotions, or they push the limit somehow. So some of my books that I write are horror comedy. Some are straight horror, but some are horror comedy. So this film last night was a horror comedy called Queens of the Dead. And it's interesting because if you know George Romero, who is the director on Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, he's a famous zombie filmmaker who's now dead. And he, Night of the Living Dead, the classic original zombie film, he's the one who invented a lot of these zombie tropes. And, so it was his daughter, Tina Romero. It was her first directorial debut, called Queens of the Dead. So first of all, has anyone seen it? And I promise I won't spoil it. I won't give you spoilers, but I'm going to tell you the basic idea of it. And I think Queens of the Dead, I think it's on Shudder. If you have Shudder.com, or I don't know, maybe other ways to see it. But it's called Queens of the Dead because the cast, I think every character in there except for one was LGBTQ. They're gay, lesbian, trans. I think there was one straight guy who acted kind of like comedy relief. But I wanted to talk about that. It's interesting because so it's an ensemble cast, right? Not just one main character, but several. The premise is, and this is not spoiling it, the preview will tell you this much, is that they're having a dance, a drag show, essentially. And the zombie outbreak happens. So that's the idea. You can imagine, it's funny. It's got some wild scenes. But it was interesting because it got me thinking, like, I don't want to get political here, but I am going to try to make a thematic point that, some people say, why does Hollywood have to push so many characters that are non-traditional in so many roles? And I thought, well, think about someone who is, say, a non-mainstream person, let's say a drag queen or something like that. All their lives, or even minorities, Black people, all their lives, every single film they've ever seen has had a full cast of people who are not like them. Different culture, people, just a different kind of person. And so I think it's kind of cool that in movies like this, that people who are not LGBTQ watch it and kind of understand, wow, every character in this movie is not like me. Maybe I can see how other people have felt all this time. And then I started thinking about the original Night of the Living Dead in 1968, the great zombie film. They're coming to get you, Barbara. That was one of the actors, Dwayne Jones, was the first Black actor to star in a film as the leading role. George Romero was pushing this stuff even back in 1968, in a time when it was offensive to some people, but he's the leading man. And so I thought it was cool that both father and daughter gave starring roles to, say, non-mainstream actors or straight white actors. And again, I'm not being political. I just think it's kind of cool. Imagine when I lived in China, I really understood this. I lived in mainland China for several years. In many places, I was the only non-Chinese person around. I got used to it over time. Kind of like when I was leaving China, to me, the standard default human was a Chinese person. So I got back here, I was like, whoa, where are the Chinese people? But I understood how it felt to be the only one who's different. And I think sometimes it's hard for us to understand what it's like living in a culture where you're the only one. And, nothing you see or read, it's like, makes you feel like you're a part of it. So I thought that was really cool. The movie itself is funny. It's pretty good. I'm not going to say it's the greatest horror comedy I've ever seen, but it's pretty good. The zombie effects the makeup is interesting. It's a little different take, and it has some genuinely funny scenes. And it had a great story too. One of the subplots about a guy coming to realize he can be brave for other people. Anyway, if you haven't seen it, Queens of the Dead, recommend it. Just watch it and enjoy. It's meant to be funny and also kind of scary.
That's, too many people take offense at things like that. And I don't understand. It's real simple. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. Yeah. But I find people sometimes, let's say they don't like an actor for some, how people are. I don't like, not because they're not a good actor or a musician. I don't like, this. So they deprive themselves of watching good movies because they don't like somebody. I'm sitting there going, what happened to open-mindedness?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Watch it, but to say I don't like it because you don't like a person.
Right.
And I've seen that in the music business. I see that quite a lot.
Sure.
And I've preached that to younger musicians coming up. I told them, I said, I'm going to tell you something right now. You want people to like you. You have to be yourself. If somebody don't like you, I'm going to tell you right now, they're not going to like your music no matter how good you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's true in the actors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same thing. People don't like you. I kept trying to tell one friend of mine how good the movie Titanic was. I thought that was a great movie. It was well put together. The old lady and everything.
Yeah.
He wouldn't watch it because Leonardo DiCaprio was in it, and he didn't like him.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going,
so what? Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I go, it's a great movie. I'm sitting there going, fine. Cut off. What do they say? Cut off your nose to spite your face.
Your face. Yeah. My philosophy on life and people is like, if someone is not hurting anyone, then I want them to live their life, whatever that means for them. I want them to be themselves and live their life. As someone as a straight male who wears, nail polish and eyeliner and a mohawk, I'm used to not looking like everyone else. And, but if you're not hurting someone, you do you. That's what I think anyway. Yeah. A couple of comments. Kevin Pittman mentioned Shaun of the Dead, fantastic horror comedy. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. Have you seen that one, Doc?
No.
It's an English film. It's fantastic. It's so good. It's really good. Yeah. And then also separate art from the artist. I agree. For the most part, like, I'm not going to go buy one of, say, Hitler's paintings, but I think that's an extreme case. But yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, for sure. Like, you can enjoy art without agreeing with everything or even understanding everything the artist
there's a difference in it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a total difference in it. What was the guy the killer in New York? He's still alive.
Zodiac, Berkowitz, the
Berkowitz.
Yeah.
He's drawing pictures and stuff. And some, Charles Manson did the same thing.
Yeah.
And some people said, I wouldn't buy one. I'm sitting there going, yeah, I totally get that in a way. I can understand somebody like that, not Manson maybe, but like Berkowitz, he killed a lot of younger people though.
Yeah.
What's the one? He's about ready to die in prison, the BTK killer.
Oh yeah. Dennis Rader. Yeah.
Yeah. Up in Washington State. They try to sell their books and stuff.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't buy their books, but I've watched documentaries on them.
Yeah. I might read it to be interesting. I'm not going to support him financially, but it might be interesting to see what that kind of mind.
Find it at a garage sale or something.
Who was this Berkowitz? What was his serial killer name? Not the Zodiac, but
Son of Sam.
Son of Sam. Yeah. Thank you.
Remember his dog talked to him.
Right. Yeah.
He took a 44 out and would catch people making out in the cars. And
he was it's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, there's always someone who doesn't like a person or anything. Agree.
Yeah.
Did Guns N' Roses covered a Manson song? Which song was that, Kevin? I don't think I knew that. That's interesting.
Sunshine of Your Smile?
Was it? Huh. Which one? See if you can remember which one it was. That's interesting. I didn't know that, and I listened to Guns N' Roses growing up.
There's been a couple of the Beach Boys did the first one.
Yeah,
and they changed it. The words to it. God, I hate old age. I know that as well as I know my own name, but they took and changed it, and they actually changed the words to it, and he got totally PO'd about it. And the song wasn't really that good, but it was on the flip side of something that sold a lot, which still there was a lot of royalties in the song, and they never give you no money.
Can you imagine if Charles Manson had sued the Beach Boys? What a crazy
that would have been that would have been crazy.
Yeah.
Look at Your Game, Girl. That's it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Huh. All right. I didn't know that. I thought, the most obvious one would have been Guns N' Roses. I used to love her, but I had to kill her. But I'm pretty sure that wasn't a Manson song.
Oh, God. How did we get on these? Manson did worse to Dennis. Yeah. He
what a weird story, But
yeah, Dennis. Well, see, Dennis let him live with him. He let the whole clan come in and stay with him, and he couldn't get rid of them, so he was just renting this house out in, I believe it was in Beverly Hills.
Yeah,
and he just walked away and went somewhere else, and then they run him out of the house, and
lucky
that's
for him. Yeah,
really got it. Was Terry Melcher and Doris Day's son and another producer that Manson was really mad at because he kept thinking they was going to record him and he was going to be the next star and everything and get his word out, and he'd pull knives out on people.
Yeah.
Manson was a typical ex-con.
Well, he's a psycho. He's a they call it now antisocial personality disorder. It used to be called psychopath and sociopath.
Yeah,
and I think he's just crazy too. But Manson scares me. But Dennis Rader, the blind toward BTK, also is really freaky. Not to get off on serial killers, but what also scares me, Doc?
What's that?
Insects like moths.
Moths.
Isn't that interesting? The moth.
Moths. Now, why would a moth scare you? I mean, I can see a wasp, maybe. A moth can't. All I can do is fly around your computer screen. Or are you talking about taller moths, a bigger moth?
I am, but actually, literal moths scare me. I have phobias. Do you have any phobias? And anyone here, you have a phobia, meaning like an irrational fear, like that's not necessarily something everyone's afraid of. Like I'm scared of alligators and crocodiles. I think some people, that's kind of normal though. I'm scared of corpses. That's maybe kind of normal, but I'm really scared of insects. Insects horrify me. Like
really?
Yes. Like to the point where I'll freeze or I'll scream and I think it's something.
In Louisiana up there, do you have insects like we got them down here in South Florida?
Yes. Yeah, the horrid things. Yeah,
and some of them you've never seen before. You're looking at them. What the hell is that thing?
Yeah, we have. God.
Keep cats in your house. Mine take care of them.
Mine are lazy. They'll look at them and chase them around a little bit and just leave them alone. But something, I think it's parts of it's evolutionary. Snakes and insects, things that could hurt us. But I don't know. It's because they're so alien and foreign. They're like long, spindly legs and thoraxes or thoraces. But they're like, man, they're just so different from humans. That might be a part of it. So anyway,
I don't know.
Yeah. But that very rough segue into the Mothman that's our main topic tonight. If y'all want to talk about the Mothman. So cryptids, let's talk about cryptids. I'd be curious to know if anyone believes in any cryptid, believes it's real. Scared. Yeah. So here we go. Scared going to a funeral home for funeral court. Yeah, I am too. Hornback. I'm literally scared of like corpses, not just zombies, but corpses. Like if I see a dead person lying in the coffin, even at a funeral, like part of me just imagines them just like sitting up. You know, it's just, oh God.
That's because you watch them damn movies all the time.
It scares the hell out of me.
Well, that's reality. The movies are reality to you.
Yeah.
You're brainwashed.
Right.
But you do feel kind of creepy like that, though. You're looking at a corpse, and I don't think going to a funeral home wouldn't scare me.
Yeah.
Going to a morgue, maybe, where they got a bunch of bodies of people that I don't know or whatever. Like Elvis used to go into them and look at people and stuff.
Really?
Man. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He used to know the guy in Memphis, and they would let him in there, and he would look at him, and they was embalming him and stuff. He'd go in late at night with he'd take his girlfriends in with him. I'm serious.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
I see what Ken, now I understand. I look like Squiggy, Lenny and Squiggy from Hush.
Squiggy, you do.
Now I get it. Okay.
Yeah, with that little point. Yeah.
Look like Jerry Only from the Misfits a little bit, if you're familiar with them. But anyway, my granny told me never kill a moth. She did not elaborate. My dad always said don't kill spiders. He said they're lucky in your house. They bring luck. So the Mothman. So cryptids, a cryptid is basically a mythical creature that is possibly real, I guess, put it that way. So like talk about vampires. Okay, if you believe in vampires, great, maybe they're real, maybe they're not, but most people consider it lore. Think of something like Bigfoot, and that's halfway plausible. Is it plausible that there are animals out there survived that we don't know about? Yeah, it's plausible. And again, I refer again to the coelacanth, which was an ancient fish that supposedly died out millions of years ago. We found them; they're still alive, swimming around. So, I believe the people that see them believe in them. Yeah, they do. That's a good point. So, I haven't seen one either. But the Mothman, if you're not familiar with this, is fascinating. Really, the story begins in Clendenin, West Virginia, which is close to Point Pleasant. And this is back in 1966. Some grave diggers, of all things, they were digging graves, and I think it was probably late afternoon, and they saw some large creature, kind of humanoid, up in the trees, moving from tree to tree. They said it looked like a man, but it looked like a brown. It's like jumping from tree to tree. So that's the first weird report. And now the real thing that got this started was when the Mothman chased a car. And I'm going to try to have an image here. Let's see. Yeah, so the Mothman allegedly chased a car and chased it down the road faster than it should have been able to go, than a bird. So here's what this is how the people in it described it, as art of rendition. So they said, basically what they said was it was Roger and Linda Scarberry, Stephen and Mary, they're on a double date, okay, in a car. It's at night. They're driving home on a highway. They saw a creature standing like in front of the car, kind of like stunned by the headlights. Like they say a deer in the headlights. It was gray. It looked like a human, but it was gray, but it had wings. They said it was probably around 7 feet tall or taller, and the wingspan was about 10 feet at least. It had red eyes. Okay, they noticed that red eyes staring at the headlight. And as they're driving down Highway 62, it takes off and starts flying and basically like dive bombs the car several times, like coming down and swooping at it. And of course you can imagine they're terrified, right? Yep, they went up to 100 miles an hour even to try to get away, but it kept up. So that's the first thing to remember when people say maybe it's a bird. 100 miles an hour it was keeping up. And so they come to the edge of town, they're getting into town, and as if it didn't want to go into a town, it landed, then ran off into a field. They said it flew like a bird very gracefully, but on land it was very clumsy. So they get into town, freaked out. Basically, they say, okay, let's stop the car. Let's talk about this. What the hell did we just see? Was it a bird? And they all pretty much agreed, no, there's no bird that's 7 feet tall, flies 100 miles an hour, and, it has glowing red eyes. So, okay, probably not a bird. So English Mothman. Yeah, the artist rendition, steering wheel's on the wrong side. I may have flipped that image accidentally, but let's not, Kevin. I'm not going to go dig up dead people. I'm too scared. Too scared they're going to come to life. So,
it'd be fun.
They finally at the end of the night, if you're really scared, you try to rationalize it in your mind. So they say, all right, well, maybe it was a bird. Let's just go home and try to forget about this. They see the creature again. They're driving on Highway 62 again, and they see the creature like waiting for them. It's on the side of the road, and they hit it with the headlights. They shine the headlights, and now they get a clearer view. They say, this is not a bird. It takes off into the air again, disappears behind the trees. And one of the people, Mary, said that it made a sound like a big mouse. Okay, so like a squeaking, right? Maybe like a bat or something like that, but it was really loud. They talked to the cops, probably embarrassed, but they say, this is what we saw. It makes a newspaper article. It's Point Pleasant, especially at that time, it's a small town, so something like this makes the paper, right? So that's the first thing. So let's just say that these people, Doc and everyone else, if they really saw something like that, what could it have been? 100 miles an hour, 7 feet tall, dive bombing a car.
Well, first off, in a moment of seeing something like that, we can give or take a foot or two.
Yeah.
And we can give or take a few miles per hour, but you're still not going to have any kind of bird that I know of that could fly like that. Are these the people that you're speaking of now? Are they the ones that wrote out the deposition for the police? I thought there was 5 of them, 4 of them or 5 of them.
Four of them. Yes, it is.
And they took them all to separate rooms and they wrote it out in handwriting.
Yes.
What went on, and they was all the exact same. They all saw the same thing. They was sure of that because they still have the handwritten letters from these people.
Yeah.
And they believe that's what they saw.
Yeah.
So they saw something.
Right.
What it was, I have no idea.
Time to move to another state. I think the largest bird in the U.S. might be the California condor, and this thing's huge. But I don't think even it is as large as what they claim to have seen. This was man-sized,
Yeah, this is it. Well, we was talking before we came on that some people have said it could have been a sandhill crane. And as I told you, I'm real familiar with them down here. They're all over the place. And, they would be 4 foot tall. They do have a really wide wingspan. But, when they're saying 7 foot tall, they're talking about taller than a man. Right. And even if they missed it by a foot, 6 foot tall, I still... I know the condors that you're speaking of have a 6 foot wingspan.
Yeah, huge wings.
Huge wings. But I do not believe they fly at night. No,
they don't. And also, what this creature, the Mothman, had human-like legs. Birds have little stick legs, right? And they can have a big body, but the stick legs. And so this one had human legs. Hormack, a gargoyle, very much like a gargoyle. Very much sounds like a gargoyle. Yeah, that's a good observation.
Where did gargoyles come from? You got any idea how that started?
Little images of demons to scare away evil spirits from churches. Basically, it's kind of like a combination of like pre-Christian and Christian iconography.
So that wouldn't have been something that would have been in their minds or anything like that.
I don't think. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that they thought that's how demons looked, basically.
Yeah.
So what happens next? There's an area near Point Pleasant called the TNT area, like the explosive TNT, because it was a munitions factory or munitions testing ground in World War II. And it's got a lot of radiation still in the area. And so the sheriff and his cops go down to the TNT area, that's what they call it, to investigate the couple's claim. Well, I'm sorry, to investigate the claims because that's where the 4 people had been in that area coming from there. And so while the cops are there, basically, they see something weird. They say they saw shadows circling in the sky in the trees, and they had unexplained static on their police radios. Now, the area does have some radioactive traces from the war, from the munitions, to be fair, but they see this something circling around in the sky, a shadow. And so they said, okay, that's interesting. That's all they see. The next day, or the day after the 4 people in the car had been chased, they go back to the TNT area and found footprints, which look like, they say, quote, 2 horseshoes put together. So like that, right? Imagine like 2 horseshoes.
Right.
No, I can't really do it, but you can see what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so the condor is sluggish in flight, not maneuverable. That's interesting, Kevin. So
Yeah.
they find a footprint. So, all right. So basically, you start hearing these sightings of the Mothman, and what's interesting is that people who were involved, people who reported sightings to the police, the lady who wrote the newspaper article about it, they start getting visited by men in black. Now, have you heard of this phenomenon, the men in black?
No.
I mean, it refers to like government agents, special agents, whatever, but
Okay.
men in black supposedly look very weird, not quite human, almost like plastic looking. This is a photo of, allegedly, a photo of men in black that, let's see if I can find it. Yeah. Okay. So this is allegedly a camera capture of men in black. They look weird, not quite human. They have odd expressions. Yeah, it looks funny.
Twilight Zone came right into my mind.
Yeah, odd mannerisms, and they wear black suits. Oh, hey, Amin, thanks for coming.
Hi, Amin.
Happy first week of December from Canada. Happy first week of December to you too. Thank you. And so anyway, everyone involved starts being visited by men in black with threats. Like, you better stop talking about this. You didn't see anything. You basically implying that they better not talk about it, or else, there's going to be something happening. So like the newspaper reporter, one of these men in black show up at her office in the evening and ask her directions, but he looked weird. He kept getting closer and closer. Then he started questioning her about the article she'd written, why she felt the need to publish it, and kind of implying threats. She said she made a phone call. She took a phone call, and the man in black picked up an ink pen and seemed to be fascinated, like he'd never seen one before. And he started laughing. He put it in his pocket and left, like just weird, like almost human, right? Yeah, you didn't see nothing. Men in black, exactly. So the men in black show up, start threatening people, which is really weird to me. So several people had this experience, seeing the Mothman and men in black. One thing about it is the eyes. The Mothman has red eyes. And there's another sighting, Connie Carpenter, who is, by the way, the niece of one of the newspaper reporter. On November in 1966, in the morning, she's driving home from church. She says she sees a man in the distance standing by the side of the road, wondering if he needs help. But when she gets closer, this man, wings come out. He unfurls wings, like the wings had been behind his back or hidden or something.
Wow.
And then flies at the car. And as it's flying towards her, she looked into his eyes, and they were red and piercing. And later, like the next day, she got conjunctivitis, like pink eye. So that was really bizarre. Okay?
That's strange.
Yeah, it is strange. So anyway, that's how this started. Now, in Point Pleasant in 1967, had a terrible tragedy. The Silver Bridge was connected it with the town in Ohio over the river there, and the bridge was old. It had been built in 1928. It didn't have a lot of the safety features we have today, and it was designed for cars of the 1920s, that kind of traffic. So in 1967 rush hour, the bridge is packed with cars. Something comes loose and it collapses and kills a ton of people. It's a tragedy. And I think this picture here is of the bridge. Yeah. So you can imagine
people died.
Yeah, imagine that packed with cars and it falling like that. It's just terrible. To this day, it's considered a great tragedy of the area. But some people started wondering if the Mothman was some kind of harbinger of doom, like whether the Mothman came to warn them, that something bad's going to happen. There are many cultures around the world have such a creature, a winged creature that shows up when tragedy is going to happen. For example, there are eyewitnesses to the 9/11 World Trade Center tower attack that claim they saw this kind of creature flying around before the attack. And here is a photo. This is an undoctored real photo. Now, what that is, I don't know. It could be a bird, whatever. But they claim that before the attack, there were sightings of this thing in New York, that picture right there. And so they're thinking, is this some kind of weird spirit that warns people? What's going on here? So there are people who believe that. Now, after the Silver Bridge collapse, most Mothman sightings they didn't cease, but they slowed down a lot. So I have some photos of people who claim are photos of the Mothman. So let's take a look, see what you all think. Okay, so let's see. Okay, we'll start here. This is an older photo, but you see in the top, above the bridge, is that black dot kind of flying around. It's hard to see. I know that.
You can see it.
Yeah, but whoever took this photo took it because they said something really big was flying around the bridge. This is before the bridge collapsed. Okay, so that one's a little bit hard to see. Other ones, let's see, Mothman. I named them Mothpick 1, Mothpick 2. So let me find the. Okay, so here we go. So here, this is another sighting at the bridge, a more modern photograph where something seems to be sitting on top of the bridge that looks kind of moth-like or winged. I don't know. It's hard to see.
Now, that's a different bridge, isn't it? Or the one
they
built?
The new bridge, I believe.
The new bridge, yeah.
They had to rebuild it with safety features, yeah. So that's another famous photo.
What is that on there?
I don't know. Something sitting on it kind of to the side. And people did believe that, claim the Mothman did sit on the bridge. That is one of the places it would sit. So that was an interesting photo. That was kind of a famous photo. Also, a group of hunters. Let's see. Is this it? Oh, here, yeah. So a group of hunters took this one. Now, they claim that they saw this big thing flying around in the sky. And they said it was huge. Now, the problem with this photo is the scale. You can see those trees, but it's hard to know how far away it was. You know, you have nothing to compare the size to. So, it's kind of hard to tell. But it does kind of look like a flying creature with two legs kind of hanging at the back.
That's what got me curious, is the legs.
Yeah.
That's not a tail that a bird would have.
Right.
And even a crane, their legs aren't that fat.
Right. Yeah. It looked like it could be human-sized calves, almost. But but some hunters took that picture there. And I think I have another one here from the same hunters. Is this 3? Let's see, 4. Yeah, this is another one from the same hunters. This one, it looks a little more bird-like, but again, the legs, So I'm not sure what to make of this one.
That's, the picture's so grainy, but depending on its size, I mean, even a swallow has like 2 spikes that comes down out of their tail.
Exactly.
But a swallow is not much bigger than your hand.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, the scale is so hard to tell. Like, how tall is that tree on the right? We don't know. We don't see it in comparison to an object that we do know. So,
but a lot of these are taken in late evening and at nighttime.
Right.
Most birds do not fly at night. Even the cranes.
Yeah.
They come in the evening and they stay, like I told you, they stay around out here on the island and stuff all night, and they fly out in the morning. They don't. But we was talking about the red eyes,
right?
We talked that alligators have red eyes, and so do owls, don't they?
Right. Yes.
Owls fly at night.
Right.
You can see owls flying around at nighttime.
Yeah. For sure. It's kind of the same phenomenon as red eye in a photograph. People are at least used to with flashes. So But the problem, yeah, owls do, and owls can get pretty big, but they can't get that big is the thing.
No,
So I'm
but
not
what
sure.
I'm saying is the people that saw this creature, a lot of them probably didn't even think that when they
Right.
saw it. You know, that
Right.
anything that flies or anything that can see really good at night, most of the time has red eyes.
Right. Right. That's true.
And I don't know, because, you know, like gators can see real good at nighttime.
Yeah.
That's why you don't mess around the water's edge at night around here.
Right. Exactly.
And owls, you see them, you know, I've seen them fly when I lived back up in Missouri a lot.
Mhm.
You know, they'll fly around at night, and they hunt at night out in the fields.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they do definitely have red eyes.
Yeah.
But most birds don't, you know.
Right. Right.
You know, and I know cranes don't. And
Yeah.
they're the biggest birds I think we have down here, them and
Yeah.
the bald eagle. But
I just, parts of the U.S. that are so wild still. This is just a random pick of West Virginia, by the way, a beautiful state. And it seems like the kind of place, if cryptids exist, they would have to live in some kind of vast wilderness, or else they would have been seen, right? Like think about Bigfoot, the mountains and the forests. You're not going to have a Bigfoot walking around Manhattan, right? So
Right.
It seems that the cryptids, if they do exist, then they're going to be living in places like this. And West Virginia is a perfect place for a cryptid because it's so wild. It's so, it has cities, but they're small. It has vast stretches of forests and mountains. So I thought that was interesting. Yeah, Kevin, look into made money rebuilding that bridge. Well, that's a good point. Yeah, it is interesting, huh? So let's talk quickly about theories of the Mothman. What are your first thoughts, Doc, and everyone else here? What are your first thoughts, I wonder, about this Mothman?
First off, I do believe they saw something.
Yeah.
And I don't know about the other ones later on, because you know how folklore gets started.
Right.
They say a lot more people came forward after these people, talked about it, went to the police, and they actually gave depositions,
Right.
and they split them up into the rooms, and their depositions was exactly the same of what they saw.
Right, exactly.
They would not, even if they was going to make a tall tale, on a whim or something like that.
Right.
I mean, who would spend the time to make sure you had your story?
Yeah.
And they said their stories was exact, and they actually have their stories on display. Their actual writing and everything like that on display to prove. I don't know if they proved the Mothman, but they proved they saw something. Right. And they all saw a huge figure with red eyes with wings.
Right.
They could keep up with a car. Now, maybe they was going 100 miles an hour, and they was scared. Maybe it wasn't flying 100 miles an hour, but who knows? Like I said, in a time of terror and stress and fear,
right?
I do believe they saw something. What? It had to be a bird that could see at night.
Yeah. The idea that it was a bird, it seems the most plausible. But the problem again is the size of the Mothman and the speed, and the fact that the legs are not bird-like. That doesn't have little skinny legs. It had like human-like legs, and it could stand.
Why did they call it a moth? That's
because it was gray and kind of furry.
Right.
Like a moth.
Yeah, furry. They've got I've seen a statue of it. They have a statue of it there in town.
They do. I'm going to show you.
The chest of you got that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. The chest has hair on it.
This is one of the statues. Yeah, up there on the top. Yeah.
Now see, it's got arms and wings on the back like a butterfly. The pictures that I see look like there's no arms.
Right.
Like a bat. They're connected to the wings.
Exactly. Yeah. Same. Yeah. The statue, I think, is like Colleen had said. The city makes a lot of tourist money off of the Mothman. There's a Mothman cafe, things like this. So that's another theory that somewhere along the line, someone saw something weird, but it kind of created a stir in the city. Monetize that.
What did they see?
Yeah, exactly. So even if the city's making money off it, still someone saw something, right?
That's exactly it.
Another theory is that it's a true cryptid, meaning that it's some kind of real, actual animal, not like a supernatural thing that just hasn't been discovered and cataloged yet by science. I mentioned again the coelacanth fish as an example, but it's possible. But like I said, it would really have to live in a vast wilderness and be very shy to exist.
Well, here's something you touched on, but you didn't go too deep into it. Was the nuclear waste that was up there?
Yes,
and we do know that it will cause all kinds of different effects on humans.
Right.
Yeah, there they are. It was a dome.
Yeah, there's munition storage, and maybe even manufacturing in World War II. And so the area does have like toxic sludge and radiation, and so that's another theory that this could be a human or a bird or something that was exposed to
a mutant.
Yeah, a mutant exposed to toxic sludge and radiation, and somehow mutated or had children mutated. It's like kind of like the Toxic Avenger, that movie, same idea there. So that's the TNT area. Yeah, so that's another theory too.
It's very possible. That it could have, I don't know, been an owl. It could have been a bat. It could have mutated. It could have grown, and it may have only lived 5 or 10 years before it went somewhere and died.
Right. Yeah.
There. You can't say no. I can't say no.
Right.
Because there is unanswered. There is logical explanation that could be, especially with that radiation and nuclear waste that was there.
Right. The animals that survived the Chernobyl, Ukraine nuclear meltdown, to this, today there are animals living there that are mutated. I mean, in that quick of time,
Right.
So yeah, possible.
Now that's in the Ukraine. Isn't there also a place up either New England or the
3 Mile Island? You're talking about 3 Mile Island? 3 Mile Island? Is that the one you're thinking of?
Maybe that's it. What was that in?
That was another nuclear disaster. 3 Mile Island is, let's see, where is it exactly? It's not near West Virginia, but
no.
Yeah. Where is it? 3 Mile Island is near Middleton. Okay, near Pennsylvania. So it's actually Pennsylvania is not too far from West Virginia.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
And they said there was mutated dogs and animals.
Yeah. Right.
So who knows?
Right. So Colleen says most birds have red eyes at night reflecting. 100 miles an hour could be perspective. Yes, it could for sure. Intuition, clairaudience. Birds I haven't seen, but still not Mothman. Okay, that's interesting, Colleen. 100 miles an hour could be perspective. Thank you, Hornback, for coming. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Hornback. Yeah, appreciate it. Well, on that, Colleen, I disagree because not all birds have red eyes at night. They just don't. All the ones even out here on our island, like I told you, the cranes. We also have one here called, I call them swimming ducks. Mm-hmm. They actually do not have webbed feet. Oh. They've got 3 toes, but they swim underwater and they spear fish. You might even know what I'm talking about, Kreepee, because they use them in China to hunt fish with. They spear fish with their beak. And they come up and they have them, and they train them, and they pull fish off, and none of them, we go out on the island all the time with lights, to look at the birds and stuff out here. Cause we got bald eagles and stuff that come out here. And, from years of like, I was a Hoosier. We used to coon hunt all the time when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And the birds roosting in the trees and stuff. I don't remember seeing anything with red eyes except for owls.
Things that reflect light like that, like cats, the things that have large pupils that absorb lots of light so they can see at night.
They can, but cat's eyes are green. They're kind of like a bullfrog. A bullfrog has their eyes come off more like a yellowish tint when you're spotlighting for that.
Right.
Dogs, alligators, gators have red eyes.
Yeah. They
You know,
do.
we know that.
Yeah. Ugh,
Um,
alligators. Ugh. Yeah. And of
so I
course,
don't know.
yeah, I don't know. The last theory, of course, is that it's something supernatural. Whether it's a
Mm,
harbinger of doom, a warning spirit, or just something supernatural that we don't know about. That's, I guess, another theory. In my opinion, if it's real, if the Mothman is real, then probably it's a cryptid, meaning it's a animal we just don't know about. But yeah, I don't know. Something about it's creepy because to seeing a man and all of a sudden these giant wings sprout out and he's dive bombing your car, that's scary.
he's like a
It's creepy.
gargoyle. It's
Yeah. Yeah, it
scary
really
no
is.
matter what it is. Yeah.
And then the Men in Black thing, the idea that maybe it's government knew about it and they covered it up. It's just a
Oh, that's what.
fascinating tale.
See, that's what I like. I like to think that it's a
Yeah.
mutant.
Yeah.
That it's probably dead now and gone. And the town of Point Pleasant,
Right.
they keep raking in
Yeah.
some money from it, and
Yeah.
that's why we still talk about it
Yep.
and we always find something to talk about on Thursday
Do.
nights, don't we?
We do, and it goes so fast. It's already time to
I know.
call it an evening. And if you do go out tonight or look out the window and you see a shadow,
Oh, we got
wings
one more
flapping,
question.
heard of those, Doc? What would Mothman eat? Yeah,
Ooh,
good
that's
question.
a good one.
That's a question.
He wouldn't
Yeah,
be.
there's a building too about they believe that it was hiding. Yes, that's a good point, Colleen. It was like a abandoned building that it was possibly hiding in. What would it eat? I don't know. Humans or some plants? I don't know.
A
It's a
lot of
very good
mosquitoes to
question.
fill it up, that's for sure.
Yeah, it sure would. A cryptid mosquito to fill it up. But yeah, that's a very
Oh,
good point, Colleen. And,
take us home, Creepy.
yeah, so if you see those wings, hear those wings fluttering tonight, just maybe hunker down in bed a little bit more, pull the blanket over your head. And as always, we'll sign off with sleep well tonight if you can.